So what was your aha moment? Was there sort of like a intersection of both experience, expertise, doing what you love? Was that an intersection that drove you to an aha moment? And did you get one of those, or you just went, I think it's the internet that's going to be the future?
That the thing that led me, so this is a true story. So how I won't say I figured out the internet was going to be a thing. I mean, back then everybody heard of the internet, but the people that were making money online, it just wasn't it was like dating online, right? It was like back then it was like, you met them online, huh? Like it was one of those weird things. Now that's just normal. That's how you do it.
Yep.
So, but back then it wasn't like that. So people that were making money online, it was kind of like this dark little corner. Some of the stuff was scams. It was kind of we worried about. It just wasn't a lot of education out there about
it. Was. Yep.
I took educational steps, right? I was reading blog posts and everything else. There was a guy named Mike Fulsame, who I was in Long Island. He happened to also be in Long Island. He was a very popular, still is, a digital marketer. So Mike was running a promotion with a guy named Chris Farrell called affiliate.com. Long story short, I signed up for their list. It's my first launch being on the user side of that, right? So I had this launch model and I'm getting all excited, whatever. They're having this live broadcast and you can do a chat and answer questions. So they do this chat and I answer a question and Mike's like, oh, you got it right. Tell you what, I'll go ahead and mail you this pen as a prize. And I'm like, oh, I only live 10 minutes away. I noticed this because I saw his address on my email and I had driven by his office to see if it was a real office or not. So it just pure luck. Like this is the universe gives you sometimes a clear hint. That was mine. So I go there and he goes, oh yeah, just come by. That's great. So I come by after a very long day at work and I'm going in and they're at this point in the middle of the launch. And up until this point, I knew that the internet, the possibilities of online digital, anything on the internet was there, but it wasn't crystallized, right? It was just kind of like an idea, like, oh yeah, it makes sense. It's probably a thing. I just gotta, So then I walk into his office. They're in the middle of the launch in this 24-hour period of whatever it was. And at the time they have this big whiteboard and they're recording all of these sales. And of course I'm kind of a, numbers guy. So I'm looking at the whiteboard and I'm thinking, this is the revenue. So I'm like, okay, this is revenue they're making. Then I'm like, that's not right. So I pull out my, I had my little calculator with me. I pull it out and I must have typed something wrong. And I do it again. And this has been 8 hours into their launch or something, whatever it was. And it was $2.2 million in revenue. Now, admittedly, there's affiliate costs and everything else. I get all that. But in my head, it was like there was a shift. Talk about that aha moment. It was like everything clicked. It was a different gear and my path was forever changed. And so I saw that and I went, this is real. It was like you just knew it was a thing now, right? It was like that was my burning bush where I'm like, it's a thing. I know it's a thing. I don't question it anymore. Now it's how do I do it? But it's not, is this really a thing? I don't know. Some people could do it, but I guess you have to have special. I'm like, nope, it's a thing. I see it in front of me, very real. Now it's go that direction and figure out how to do that. And that's what led me. That was the shift. That was the biggest aha moment I've ever had in my entire life. And it was like just a gear. My brain it forever changed. Like I could almost physically feel it just going, oop, now you look at the world like this now. It was just, and it's never changed. I've been, forever grateful to him and his team for that moment.